Hello, amazing agents. Welcome to Agent Tech Mastery Podcast, where we explore cutting edge technology, systems, apps, and a mindset for a profitable and integrated real estate business. If you've been feeling stuck and stressed and anxious and confused and overwhelmed with systems, technology, and apps, then you've come to the right place. My name is Darcy LaRocque, and my co-host is Terry Oste. I have been in information technology for about 30 years. I speak all over North America about systems for agents, and I was on TV for 3 seasons teaching tech tips. And Terry is an absolutely amazing agent for almost the last 20 years. Oh, and he's also my husband. This podcast covers all things about streamlining your operations, saving you time, and boosting your revenue, and so much more. I am so grateful for your presence here today. Now let's dive into the Agent Tech Mastery podcast. All right, welcome to the podcast today, and we are going to be talking about, you ready? Mobile apps, mobile devices, computers, Mac, Windows, and it's an interesting topic because we have been working, well, I've been working with agents for almost 2 decades. Terry, you've been an agent for almost 2 decades. I'm sure you've seen everything under the sun. One of the biggest questions I get is that if I have an iPhone, do I need to buy a Mac? So, what do you think, Terry? What do you think the answer to that is?
Well, I am living proof of the answer no.
Correct, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and I'm going to explain so you really understand how it works. So, the benefit, there is obviously a benefit to being all Apple, is that if you're all Apple and you have an iPad, an iPhone, and a Mac, then certain things will ring on all devices. So FaceTime will work on all devices, messaging will work on devices, no, messaging will work on all devices. What else? I'm trying to think of other things. That's usually about it. So, so sometimes that's a benefit to people. Sometimes people don't even know that that's an option because if you don't set it up, then it doesn't work. So, but I'm from the mindset that it doesn't matter if your systems are set up properly. So that means you can go back and, I've got a ton of training on my website, agenttechmastery.com. We've done podcasts about this. I've been talking for 20 years about systems. But if your systems are set up properly, I always like to kind of joke that it's agnostic. We don't care if you're a iPhone user and a Windows computer and a Android tablet, though that's 3 different operating systems, so you have to learn each one. And Terry, you and I both have iPhones, iPads, and Windows computers, and there's literally no problem with it. What did you say?
Correct. I have no
Yes.
problem with any of my data, looking at anything, communicating. It's really easy. And that's thing about my phone because I've wrecked phones and laptops in the past. It
Yeah, you
just
do it way more than I do.
it just doesn't matter because I just get new ones and I'm back on
And the
track.
setup is pretty, and again, it is about making things all streamlined and integrated, but it's true. And Terry is a very good example of that because when things go wrong, because it will, Macs die. If you think that they don't, they do. I had a client, this is years ago, but his hard drive died on his Mac, and he spent something like $10,000 to get to go to a forensic hard drive specialist to restore data, and he didn't get it all back. If you're set up properly with the cloud, then it doesn't matter whether you're on a Mac or you're on a Windows computer or Chrome browser, whatever. It doesn't matter because everything syncs and integrates. So I'm just going to try and find because I have on my website under blogs, I'm just going to go over there because I've done a blog that says, should I get a Mac or PC or should I get an Android or iPhone? I don't want to forget things that I talk about all the time. Um, One of the things that what I see also that people may do is when you switch mobile devices. Now, I don't think we ever have, except back in the day from BlackBerry to iPhone, right? I haven't run across a BlackBerry user. I can't tell you how long. Anybody out there miss the darn keyboard like I do? I still long for those days of that physical keyboard. I was like, I'm going to say 99% correct. I am forever on my iPhone backspacing because the it's not correct, the autocorrect's horrible, or the voice detect is horrible. Terry, do you have problems with that? Or is it just me?
Um, yeah, I have bigger fingers than you do, but my typing seems to be okay. I don't get too frustrated in the beginning. It was a real pain because it was like, oh, this is horrible, right? But now I'm just
Yeah.
used to it. And I know
Okay,
you use
well,
a lot of voice to text these days, so you don't even typing anymore.
I find the voice to text is horrible.
Oh,
I don't know if you notice. I have the latest operating system, so I'm always updating to the latest operating system. And actually, that's something we should talk about, the operating system updates for both computers and for wireless devices. But let me talk a little bit about what I've seen with clients I've worked with, which is obviously real estate agents, but what I see is someone will say, you know what, I'm going to go from either Android to iPhone or iPhone to Android. And what they don't think about is if you purchased a bunch of apps, so let's say it's Apple, you're an Apple iPhone user and your family is Apple as well, and then you switch to an Android because you're tired of whatever reason, the iPhone. The issue is the apps aren't going to transfer over. So no longer on the Android can you FaceTime. You can use their version, but you're going to train your whole family on how to do that, right? And other people. Any apps that you purchased on the old device, you're going to have to repurchase on the Android because they're different operating systems. Does that make sense, Terry?
oh yeah, for sure. Yep,
Yeah.
100%. Yep,
Do you have any
exactly.
comments on that? Jump in.
Yeah, no, I think well, most of the people that I know are all on iPhones.
Yeah.
Everybody's is used to that now. It's gonna be interesting to see in 10 years if that's the case. Because
You know
20
what's,
years,
I agree because I haven't really seen any new player in the market that's said, "Oh, this is the best." I mean, there was a while, well, this was ages ago, the clear one. I can't even remember who was the company that never went anywhere. There's the folding one that I think is Samsung, again, Android.
Mhm.
Um, I haven't seen anybody with it. It looks pretty cool. I'd love to know if anyone has one. But I haven't heard of anything. There's no big wow, what's going on? I don't know. It's interesting. Um, One of the things, this is just a kind of an aside about computers, is that there's a few cool things if you have a Mac or a Windows computer, I don't care. If you don't have a second monitor, you are losing out. Terry, you have two monitors, right?
Yeah, okay, here's my setup. I
Yeah.
have
Yes.
three laptops. They're all
Yes.
Windows based.
Yeah.
So I have a home office with a big monitor, and I plug my laptop into that.
Yeah.
I have an office at my brokerage.
Yep.
I have a monitor and a laptop plugged into that.
Okay, so you have dual screens.
Yeah, so I have dual screens on
Yep.
both offices. And then I also have a really nice laptop that I travel with, which is a foldable touchscreen and convertible laptop.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay. So
so
almost in all instances, you have two monitors to look at.
correct.
One of the reasons, like, if you're wondering, you guys, is like, okay, well, why? Here's the reason why. And again, once you have a second monitor, you'll never be able to go back because it's life changing. It saves so much time for you. So even for this, I'm looking at my blog and I moved it over here so I could talk to you guys and not look like I was looking over here. But normally, if I was doing stuff, I could have whatever on this screen and be doing other things on the other screen. So if I had to look at something and go back and forth, I'm editing something, I want to look at a document over here and do something over here, it's life changing. Terry, would you agree?
Oh yeah, for sure. One of the things I use a lot for is because I do a lot of teaching,
Yeah.
is when I'm doing my Zoom, the screen that they're watching is on my little small screen.
Yes.
And I've got my big screen, which is like I've got all the
Your
chat
notes.
box, the notes, everything's up,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at the big screen. And then
Yeah.
I can draw on the little screen because it's a touch screen. I can draw on it and stuff like that as part of my presentation. Yeah, so it works out really, really well. I can't imagine having just one screen to
Oh,
teach Zoom classes on. It'd be really hard.
no, well, I don't know how many people would do that. Terry teaches in the industry as well for construction and other things. But I think that just the value of everything is just being able to have something on one screen and doing the other thing on the other screen. I use it all day long. I'll go, oh, I want to leave that there and do something else. I'll go on the other monitor. And I want to show you guys a trick because you can obviously go to wherever your Best Buy or whatever store is out there and go get a secondary monitor. I haven't looked at how much those cost anymore. I don't know how much a second monitor is
For
anymore.
300
That's my
bucks. That's like,
setup in my office.
yeah.
But what I do when I travel is I used to plug my iPad in and I paid a small fee for a software called Duet. And it would work on a Windows or a Mac, and you plug it in, and the iPad becomes a secondary monitor, which was awesome. Okay. But then I was researching something one day and I was like, oh, they actually have like just a dummy monitor that's light that you can travel with. So, and it's bigger than the iPad and it fits in a carry-on. And that is my secondary screen. So, and it wasn't super expensive and I love it. So once you get used to it, so when we travel, even though if we're on vacation, we're kind of working, a couple hours in the morning, and I need that second screen. I'm not efficient without that second screen. So there's a tip for you. You can either use Duet software and your iPad becomes a secondary monitor, or you can look online for just a dummy monitor it wasn't that expensive. Okay. Okay. So let's talk also about the ability when you're talking about Terry before is that when things are set up, so Terry, example, tell the people what happens when because it's happened 3 or 4 times I can remember when your computer dies.
Yeah, when your computer dies, it's a real problem because our friend that we talked about whose computer died.
Hmm.
Anything that's resident on the hard drive,
Yeah.
you might lose it, right? I know people
Yeah.
do backups and do other kinds of weird things, but
Unless you've worked with us, because we've fixed it for every client that's gone through our program, that's fixed.
yeah,
But Terry's exactly right. Where's your stuff? And do you know if your computer dies right now, is your files and folders gone? That's critical.
yeah. And your
Okay.
phone as well.
And your what?
Your phone as well. People keep a lot of stuff on their phone.
Oh my, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna make a note because I want to talk about phone contacts.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Go
That
ahead.
happens and it's a big problem, right? So
Yep.
um, I'm not worried about my stuff because my stuff I can destroy all my hardware. It's not a big deal. Well, it is because it costs money for me, but
Well, yeah, but
all
it's
my
like
data stuff.
whatever.
My data's
You're
good.
you're not having to go try and take your hard drive somewhere and leave it with somebody to
Hmm.
restore some files. If you're set up properly, all you do, and this has happened a few times, it's always when we're going on a holiday. The night before or something, the 2 days before, you do something and uh-oh. So you go get a computer, and if you're set up properly, you download literally two things and you're back up and running. And I've had it where my computer had the blue screen of death, black screen of death a while ago, so I was waiting to get it repaired and blah blah blah, whatever. So Terry wasn't using his office setup, so I literally went to his office, logged into a couple things, and I was back up and running
Yeah.
like
Mhm. Oh,
within a minute.
that's amazing.
So if you're not set up like that, you need to book a call with us at agenttechmastery.com because you should be. Okay, it's a huge, huge thing. And it's kind of like insurance. It's not a problem till it's a problem, and then you're gonna, I wanted to swear, pay big time. Because when you lose your stuff, that is catastrophic, and you're gonna spend days, if not weeks, trying to figure shit out. Whoops, yep. Right?
Yeah.
So it's horrible. And then when Terry was saying, well, what about what about your phones? So have you guys ever seen on forums or Facebook or Instagram, someone says, oh my gosh, I lost my phone and lost all my contacts. Can you please DM me your information? Have you seen that, Terry?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. If that is you, or you think that would be you, you're not set up right. Your phone is not set up right because your contacts are not just sitting on your phone if it's set up properly. Your contacts are being backed up and stored in a cloud, whether you're Android, whether you're iPhone, whether you're a BlackBerry, it doesn't matter. Your stuff, if set up properly, is always backed up. What people don't understand that, so they panic and they spend how much time entering another 500 contacts? Like, even just me saying that, my heart pounds a little bit because I'm thinking it's just because they don't understand. Does that make sense, Terry?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I got 5,000 contacts, right?
Yeah, you shouldn't have 5,000 contacts. He's what's that saying about the shoemaker's children or the shoemaker's husband? You should not have 5,000 contacts. Okay, actually, let's talk about that. Um, I would suggest that most agents' contacts, both personal and business, would probably be around 500 to 3,000. If you have more than that, you probably are keeping people that you don't really need. So, you know, should your crappy leads be on your phone? Probably not, right? If you communicate with them, never heard back, they should be in your CRM for sure, right? And your CRM should sync with your contacts as well. And that's a whole other story, but if set up properly, that should be a possibility. Um, the other thing about when people say they have an iPhone or an iPad and they say, okay, you know what, I'm going to go jump on the Apple bandwagon and my next computer is going to be a Mac. I know this is weird, you guys, but I always say don't do it unless you're completely sure you want to learn new software. Because you know how to use an iPhone doesn't mean you're going to know how to use a Mac. They're completely different operating systems. So I can tell you, I can't even tell you how many times I've been told this from my clients who got a Mac thinking, oh yeah, and then they're like, they don't know how to use anything. They don't know how to copy, they don't know how to move, they don't know how everything syncs and integrates. They're no better off. So if they're used to Windows, and how Windows works, and you move to a Mac, you're gonna have a really, 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 really big learning curve. Okay. I have because I train on all systems. I've got an Android, I've got a Mac, I've got an iPhone, I've got an iPad, I've got Windows computers because I always have to test, when things happen. But my basic setup is because I'm familiar with a Windows computer. I use the Mac every once in a while, and every time I do it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've totally forgot how to do this and that, and I have to relearn myself. But I'm really comfortable on a Windows computer, and I don't want to have to learn how to do things on a Mac. So, are they superior? The Mac people will always say they're superior, but know that, I'm not saying don't do it, but if you're going to get a Mac, please know that if you've never had a Mac, it's not the same as having an iPad at all. That makes sense, Terry?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So really, 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 really important to understand. And it's the same when people say, when you're switching devices, it's the same thing. You're comfortable, you know how to use your iPhone or you know how to use your Android or whatever you're using. And then for whatever reason, you're deciding to switch. It's a different operating system. So the buttons are going to look different. The settings are going to look different. You're going to have to re-download and pay for apps that you used to use. So you got to really think it through when you're switching from one type of operating system to another. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
Okay.
One of the other things that I'll give you an example, when you have your system set up properly, as
Yeah.
an agent, doesn't matter whether you're an individual or a team or what have you, you're bombarded all day long with people asking you for stuff, wanting things, et cetera, et cetera. We were at a baseball game yesterday, and in between innings, my phone's buzzing away, and so I looked, and there was a client wanting to get a floor plan for one of my listings, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Terry, did you have to drive back to the office or your home to get that?
No. Did I have to call my assistant to send it out? No. I spent 13 seconds, I think, So I took the
Yeah.
steps from the floor
Definitive
plan.
13 seconds. I
Yeah.
didn't even know you did that, but okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stepped on the floor plan
Yep.
and carried on with the baseball game, right? So um, when your system is set up, you don't need to go back to the office to try and find your files.
Yes, because everything should be under a cloud storage account, and then on all your devices, anywhere you log on, you'll have access. So right now, if I save a file, a folder, a document, a picture, anything on my computer under a folder, I can go within a minute, I can open up my phone, I can open up my tablet, and I can see that document, that file, that folder, that photo, whatever it is, anywhere, anytime
Yeah,
at your
from the device.
fingertips. And if you're
Yeah.
not set up that way, you need to be because it's an
What
incredible skill to have. Yep.
what's the worst you've seen is people storing documents? I think it was on a computer and people were storing them on their desktop.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Hundreds,
Listen,
hundreds of
I have
them.
seen everything. So if you're storing, if you're one of those people that has, again, there's a webinar on my website. It's less than 30 minutes. Go to agenttech mastery.com and there's a webinar. I think I show someone's, not one of my clients, of course, desktop. But if you have got all your files and folders on your desktop, it really is because you're not set up properly. If I showed you my computer right now, I have zero things on my desktop. Okay.
Has
You
it
can have shortcuts to things if you really need to, but I think it's just you don't understand. And and this is going to sound odd when I say this, but your browser isn't set up to save things to the right place. Because usually people are now logging onto their browser, they get an attachment, they save it to their desktop. Is it being backed up or is all that stuff gone if your computer dies? But where it should go immediately is to the right folder on your desk, on a Mac, it's Finder, on a Windows computer, it's File Explorer. It should go to the right folder. What I see people wasting so much time because they don't understand this is they throw everything on their desktop or they throw it to the downloads folder, the documents folder. Then they have to go back in and move it to the right place. That's inefficient, and that isn't how it should be.
has
Okay?
anybody bought a bigger monitor to give them more desktop space?
Don't do that. Don't listen to him. Do not buy a bigger monitor for more desktop space. No. Um, One of the other things I want to talk about, because I get this question all the time, is um, should I update my whatever, your wireless device, your computer? So there's kind of a few things at play here with my answer is that if your computer or wireless devices are so old that they do not take any updates, you need to get a new device. Okay, whether that again is a computer or a phone. You're running your business, and so you will be. So here's an example, actually. If let's say your computer is 8 years old, runs okay, and you're just something, it's not taking any of the updates anymore because it's so old. When you get that new computer, things, as soon as you buy a new computer, you're kind of out of date in 6 months. So now you're, what did I say, 8 years out of date? You're going to have the fastest thing ever because your computer's so lousy right now. Okay. It is worth it. And 8 years ago, the prices have actually dropped significantly. And the other thing is when you buy a computer and you have to buy, you're paying more for hard drive size. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yes?
George, yeah.
Okay. If you're set up cloud-based, you don't necessarily have to. Like my hard drive is not very big because everything for me is in the cloud and it's called streaming. So that means it looks exactly the same, but it's not physically on my hard drive. And that's a whole other story. But that's a huge cost savings. Okay. But I've seen many agents where they're all mad because some software that they use won't download anymore. Well, you know why? Because your computer's out of date. And that would happen with Netflix, with every single piece of software, whether it's personal or business. And so I would really say if you're in that point where your operating system, whether it's your phone or your computer, you should update it. Okay? Because what updates do is think about this. You're like when you're mad about why can't I install Netflix on my Windows 10. Is Windows 10? I can't remember. Windows 10, Windows 8, whatever you might have, or your Mac. And actually, Mac is a big one too on a prior version of a Mac that no longer takes updates. There's no way that the other software vendors, would, whoever it might be, whether it's Microsoft or DocuSign or Authentisign, whatever stuff you install on your computer, they're not going to keep, so, and including Microsoft for Windows and Apple for Mac, they're not going to keep supporting old models. They can't. They will only keep supporting, I think it's usually 5 years, 4 or 5 years old models for both phones and computers. And it makes sense because actually a phone is a better example because we use this every single day and we download apps to use, right? So let's say my phone is, I don't know, 6 years old and I go to update, I don't know, let's use DocuSign. I go to update DocuSign and I get an error saying cannot update on this device, something like that. And then you get mad. Well, DocuSign is only supporting the latest versions of iPhone operating system. So if my iPhone can't take the latest operating system, the apps will eventually stop working, including Netflix. Okay, I've seen a lot of people, they'll keep a really old iPad to use Netflix. It might work for a while, it depends, but no other apps will work on it. And that's why. Did I explain that okay, Terry?
Yep, yep, for sure. Yep.
Everyone
Depends on
understand
the
that?
operating system. Yeah, for sure.
It's really, I get this question at least probably once a month. Should I upgrade? And the answer is yes,
Hmm.
you should, because your phone is going to be way faster, bigger, better, stronger, faster. Your computer is going to be bigger, better, stronger, faster. And you're going to go, why didn't I do this like 5 years ago? Right?
Exactly.
It really, really is like truly. So now let's talk a little bit about the upgrading. You've got a fairly new device and there's updates. Should I be updating it all the time? So let's talk computers first. Yes. The answer is yes. And why is there updates? And the updates really are things break, right? Things don't work or there's out of date things, and updates fix little things maybe you're not aware of, or maybe you are aware of and not realizing that there's an update. So when people talk about something isn't working on their computer, my very first thing I say to them, okay, did you reboot it and is it working? And if the answer is yes, I did, and no, it still isn't working, are you on the latest operating system? This is for phones as well. This is literally what I say. Are you on the latest operating system? No, I'm not. Okay, get on the latest operating system, update it, reboot, let it go through its updates. Is that fixed? And I'm going to say 95% of the time it fixes whatever errors you've got. That makes sense, Terry?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you always need to be doing that. One of the things that happens, I know, with just a little tip here, if you are doing something critical, let's say you are teaching a Zoom session first thing in
Mm-hmm.
the morning, and I always like to reboot my system and
Mm-hmm.
clear off all the stuff
Mm-hmm.
that I don't need operating in the background.
Yes.
But you don't do that 10 minutes before you start your Zoom session because
No, because an update might take
might
an
be an
hour.
update pending, right? And then you're in a little bit of trouble. So
I
always,
I
yeah,
also have done that once, and I was like, oh my God, well, I should know better. And I was like, I'll just update it. And it's like, it took like, I think 5 minutes before I had the Zoom session that I
yeah,
was doing.
exactly.
Yes.
So the night before, do that, or for like hours before your
Not
session.
when you're, yeah, when you've got it. I've seen mostly it's like at most an hour, but you should do it in off hours for sure, not when you need your computer.
Exactly. But yeah,
Yeah.
rebooting it is helpful as well. Resets a lot of things, fixes a lot of problems. Back
Yep.
in the day, we used to pull the battery out of the BlackBerry to
Oh,
reset
I
it.
don't have to do that anymore.
But that
Yep.
was that was the first thing. Okay, pull your battery, right?
Pull your battery because that's what they call a hard reset. So there's
Hmm.
soft resets where you just, turn your phone off, but a hard
Hmm.
reset is pulling the battery out. We don't do this anymore
Hmm.
on any devices actually.
Yeah, I can't get at the
Yeah,
batteries.
I can't even think the last time I did that. It's been a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
But the tip I'm going to give you, I would say for Mac and Windows, updating it whenever there's an update is fine. I never really see a problem with that. I'm going to say the flip side on a phone. What I tell people is that let's say, I don't even know, let's say your phone is version 18.1 operating system and the next update is 18.2. Probably fine to just say yes do it. Okay. And the next update's 18.3, 18.4. But when it goes to 19, which means that's a major update, I would caution people to wait a couple weeks because there is no way in the entire world that they know what everybody does on their phones, and not all bugs will be fixed. That's what the 18.1, 18.2a, whatever you're doing, whatever the updates are, it's because there's more. That's the big release came out and there's still bugs that they have to fix. And so those minor ones, I say, yeah, usually that's not a problem. The big one, wait, because you want all those other people to be the kind of guinea pigs on the new operating systems, because there's no way that they can think of the millions or billions of apps that are out there, and maybe somebody didn't do something. Like, we just don't know. Printing, there's so many things in that tiny device that needs to be updated. So that's my tip on operating systems for devices, like wireless devices, is to wait a couple weeks when there's a major release. Okay. Did I catch everything? I only max. Yes, that's good. Let me just think about, I think I covered everything. Oh, actually, the other thing, sorry, because I wrote this on my blog. You can go to my blog and read about this as well, agenttechmastery.com/blog, or blog on the menu. There's literally a section that says, should I get a Mac or PC? And I talk a little bit about this as well. What I've seen before, and again, it's because most people don't understand this. If you talk to me, and this would not be a problem, but I've seen people switch from iPhone to Android, and guess what? Guess what's missing? All their contacts. And then they freak out. Where are my contacts? They must have sat local here. They probably don't sit local on your phone, but they could, but that doesn't have to be. You should be able to just turn it on get whatever device you get, the Android, and all your contacts come back. But I see people like, oh my gosh, I've lost everything. So 5,000 contacts, if that was Terry and he didn't know better, he'd be freaking out. That is, again, because your systems are not set up properly and you don't understand how the syncing and integration works. And it's a lifesaver to understand all this stuff. And that's really what we do to help agents. So I think we've kind of bashed this to death today. What do you think, Terry? Do you have any other
I think
comments?
so. Yeah. Do you want to talk about virus protection on your computer?
Oh, yeah, okay. So, one of the things, yeah, when I talk about when we work with agents, we actually have a training session on this, is if you get a new computer, what do you do? So you install a couple things so everything syncs and integrates within 5 minutes, you're back up and running. But what I also say is, don't forget to reinstall your virus scanning software, whatever that might be. They're like McAfee, Norton. I don't use either of those. They're kind of they use up a lot of space on your computer, and I just don't like them. I've been using a different version of a virus scanner called WebRoot. I have no affiliation with them. If you want to use it, great. It's just a little bit lighter on the computer. And your printer, you got to set your printer up again. You got to think about all these other things that you have to set up. There shouldn't be that much, but virus scanner, one of the pieces of software I absolutely love. Maybe we should talk about this another day, Terry, is
Yeah.
what are great apps and software that we
Yeah.
use? Have we
Yeah.
talked about that?
But it's always changing. So we've got
It's
like,
always
yeah,
changing.
we've got
Yeah.
a really good
We'll
AI
talk
app.
about that in another podcast about what great software. Did you have anything to add about the
I think people are when they talk about putting your double screen up, because there's a few different options. And I forget what it's called when you get into your settings. It's
what do you
called
mean?
expanding. Is it? No, it's not called
Oh,
expanding.
your monitor when you get a different
Monitoring.
monitor.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I'll just do it while I'm talking here. It's you literally again, I'm on a Windows computer, but you can just type monitor and it'll pop up on the
new setting.
menu saying rearrange displays, display or extend to a connected
Oh yeah,
display.
and that's the one I'm.
So, and here's another tip for you guys. Also, it doesn't matter Mac or Windows, you can do the same. Which way do you want to drag your stuff? So for me, my main screen's in front of me and then I have one to the left. So I don't want to drag to the right to get to the other monitor. I want to drag to the left to get to the other monitor. And that's just a setting on your computer, okay? And so that might be frustrating initially. You're like, well, this is stupid. Now I have to do that. It's a setting. And so everything you can, that's frustrating almost always can be fixed. It's just that you don't know how.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that make sense? Did I
Yep.
answer your question or what you were
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about?
yeah. The terminology I was looking for is called extending because once you plug in
Extending.
your laptop to a monitor, then it doesn't automatically just configure. You have to
It
tell it
duplicates it, it mirrors it,
duplicates it.
which
Yeah,
to
right.
me doesn't make sense. I've seen people say, I like to mirror, but I don't understand why.
Yeah,
Extending means it's literally a separate, it's not the same thing on each screen. Then that's a time saver. So mirroring, I don't really know why you'd want to mirror. You want to extend. So thanks for bringing that up.
yeah. So that's good as well. And
Awesome.
then one thing that I do on my Zoom sessions all the time because I want them to look at my small screen and I want to use the square footage of my big screen.
Yes.
So when you get into I use PowerPoint. So when I put it in presenter mode, it automatically it reverses the way that I like to do it. So
Yep.
there's a setting on the on there as well where you can reverse the screens, right?
Yeah.
So if you ever get stuck in presenter mode and it's backwards and you go, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Yep.
There's a function on there to flip the screens.
And that's the same again, whether you're PowerPoint or Google Slides or whatever slides. It's really not a function of the software. It's how you're configured your Zoom sessions. And also, really, if you're doing any Zoom sessions with clients, it's the same thing.
Hmm.
Right? Like it's the same thing. Which screen do you want to show them? And you can pick which screen. And it's so amazing what we can do these days with computers and devices. I actually can, when I'm helping agents, I actually can say show them my wireless devices with an app. I've used this app for so many years, but we'll talk about that in the app one. But I literally they'll say, "Well, how do you do that?" They can show me their phone if they want by Zoom, which is super cool. Or I can just say, you know what, it's faster for me just to show you on mine. So I'll flip it open. I'm on a Zoom session. I'll go over to the other monitor, and now they see my iPhone.
Super
And I
cool.
can, go to the settings or whatever I'm showing them. It's amazing. It really is amazing.
Yeah, very cool.
Okay, I think we're good.
Yep.
Have a fantastic day, you guys, and we will, I guess, we'll talk about software next time.
Mhm.
Software and apps that are
Mhm.
awesome because we haven't talked about that in a
Yeah.
while. And
One
then we're
thing
going to also, on
use.
the list of things to talk about, Terry and I, next week or the week after, we're going to go meet an AI expert. So we're going to bring all that knowledge back to you guys. And he's talked to this guy, and it's incredible what you can do. And I haven't talked to this guy live, so I'm super happy to be involved in the meeting. And so, AI and software in the next little while for podcasts, and we'll talk to you next time. Okay, all right.
Awesome.
Okay. Thanks, Terry.
Later.
Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Agent Tech Mastery Podcast. If this episode inspired you, please leave a review and also share this podcast. And I'd love to chat with you. Please feel free to DM me on most social channels or tag me. Let's chat. If you are feeling stuck with your real estate business, wasting so much time entering data using free email addresses or worse, a brokerage one, yikes, or you're using a CRM, well, you're not really using a CRM, or worse, you're using a brokerage CRM. If you can't find anything due to disjointed systems, why not book a complimentary real estate tech and systems audit? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Go to go.agenttechmastery.com/pod. Again, that is go.agenttechmastery.com/pod. And tune in to watch our podcast on any major podcast app by searching Agent Tech Mastery. See you on our next episode.